Steve Jobs has this quote, stay foolish, stay hungry. And I think that got stuck with me. It was like, people overthink shit. People,
like analysis.
Yeah, man, it's like just move. And the whole stay foolish part is like, just don't overthink. Like, stay foolish enough that's going to happen. Stay foolish enough, like, I'm going to be able to make this happen regardless of what the obstacle is, regardless of what the adversity is. I'm going to make it happen. And that's the foolish part that, like, doesn't, that pushes you through.
That's what we would always see in sales is that the people that, when they first come in, their first, 3-4 months, they're killing it.
Yeah.
Because they're not thinking. They're just, selling. But as soon as they start to learn all the programs and learn all the little boxes they need to fit people in, they start overthinking and they stop doing the work.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And their production goes down all the time.
It just reminds me of, again, wholesaling real estate. And the most successful people that you see wholesaling real estate are not the systems guys. They're not the guys that have it all figured out.
Just hustling.
They're hustling with pen and pad and maybe an Excel spreadsheet. And you're like, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of the Let's Be Honest show with my man Bobby Barua, Keenan, not Brian.
There we go.
But Keenan, you like that better, right?
And
my man Emil Gamidov.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it.
And to give you a proper introduction, I've known this man for the last, I think, 12 years. Yeah. We came up in the fitness industry together. We worked at Urban Active.
Yep.
You were on the membership sales side. Yeah, RIP, right? I was on the personal training sales side. And, the sale was such a, let's just say it was very high pressure back then, very high pressure. But it was a very, like anything you think about Wolf on Wall Street, sales, rah-rah, Glengarry, Glen Ross, that was the company, that was the organization. But fast forward, 10 years, what you've done, you've built 7 clubs, Onyx Fitness here in Ohio. You're about to expand nationwide. You're doing some really, really cool stuff.
I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
Wanted to give you a proper introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, man.
For sure, man. It'll be exciting.
Absolutely.
We have some fun.
So let's get right into it, man. Yeah. So you've got a lot of exciting stuff, growth plans, even through this recession, what's going on in the world today. You've got a lot of cool stuff going on. And to be real, when we were back in the fitness industry in, let's say, 2008, 2009, and 10, we were in the middle of a giant financial crisis. And what were people buying?
Personal training.
They were buying.
I think you know what.
Not so much sense, right?
I think man. People, it's a lot of mindset. Like back then, I think that we're just also much younger, so we didn't get caught up with all this politics and what's going on. We knew what we had to do.
I didn't think about politics.
There's no. My dad was like, man, you gotta start paying attention to politics. You own a business. I'm like, I just didn't have a mindset. I was just like, man, I'm just doing my thing.
I'm making money.
I got the vision. I'm just looking straight ahead. But no, it's I think back then it was just, now we're more aware and we're like, how's this affecting us? How is it? Because now we're sitting on different sides of the table, and it's more of like, for me in my business, it's like I'm in a consumer-based business. So when things like that happen, and in the economy, people start talking recession, people start talking scare tactics. It's the first people that I see is the consumers that stop spending, that tighten up. You know what I mean? It's that person that's going to walk in and buy a membership. That person's going to walk in and buy personal training. So seeing that at firsthand, and I think the biggest thing is same thing as back then, but trying to take the same mindset of like changing it and flipping it in my with my staff, and just saying it's a mindset thing. Like we're gonna control what we can in these 4 walls, and we're not gonna worry what's happening on the outside, because that's gonna be just creating excuses, So
I always love that one. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I feel like the recession is almost the least of your worries compared to the pandemic.
That had to be the worst for you to shut down.
You were shut down, right?
Yeah. No, 3 months, and I was telling like this man. It was, he asked me how we pivoted, and then I remember this like it was yesterday. So the very next day that we closed, I got all my leaders, all my managers together, and we go to the office. And I'm like, all right, what's the play? I'm like, all right, first, then I called every one of my friends that was like an executive position in the gyms that they own. One guy was Anytime Fitness VP, one was LA Fitness, one with Planet Fitness. Every one of them, I call on FaceTime and like this, and they're on the couch. Like, what are you doing? He's like, what do you want me to do? He's like, corporate told me to go home. I was like, you guys not like pivoting, figuring shit out? Like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, dude, like
it's only 2 weeks.
It was a day. It was like the next day. It just happened. And I was like, but in my mind, I remember with my mind, like,
Don't worry,
Thanks,
lockdown for
Governor.
another 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll
it'll
get
be
through
fine.
this.
Okay, now it's 2 months.
No, man. And then like I remember going through that, and but I was already mentally preparing ourselves. Like we heard that was gonna be shut down coming or something happening. So with my staff, I was like, "Fuck that, we're not shutting down." Like whatever. And again, the mindset is like that's the leadership that I want to come through.
It was.
I was like, we're not shutting down. Whatever we got to do. So it was till last minute, and then when it actually happened, they're like, "No, we're shutting down." Damn. So in my mind, I was like, "We're still not shutting down."
Yeah.
But I was like, "We're figuring this shit out." So that's why, like, I had the next day, I had all the managers in the office, and I did that on purpose, and I showed it to them, and I think that's where the bought-in came in. They're like, "Damn, we're about to do something different than all these national guys are doing out there," and I think that was the pivoting point, because I truly felt that after COVID, it was a reset. Everybody started at the same line. I don't care if you were in business 50 years. I don't care if you were in business 10 years or you were in business 1 year. It was now you stop marketing. Your staff went home. You're gonna have to rehire. You're gonna have to reset the culture. You're gonna have to reset the marketing. Like everything stopped. So when we paused. I was like, we gotta pivot. So we start pivoting and went virtual. So we like literally created ads. We started marketing high-end markets, Manhattan, Chicago, and we started selling. We literally created an ad, and we're like, all right, so we did a free 21-day challenge, 6-week conversion, whatever it was. But obviously there's cost for acquisition of that client or of that lead. So I was like, well, we're going to lose if we don't just sell something. But it was a free giveaway. But what we did is we partnered with a supplement company that shipped nationwide. So what we do is we do the original pitch of 20-week, 21-day challenge or 6-week abs. People go in there.
6-week abs.
We go in.
That's my favorite one, personally.
Hey, when somebody's really close, you know what I mean? Then when you got to tighten some things up, they'll get
Dude,
there.
that was my last goal this year that I was trying to accomplish.
It's like, hey, we can get you 6-week in that for sure. Like, you're fine for sure.
Well,
You already got abs.
6 weeks ago, I had some. Okay,
Yeah.
6
See?
weeks to
It takes 6 weeks to lose sometimes, you know.
It take about 6 days to get.
Yeah. But no, it was cool because what we did was like, all right, so we would get you on the phone and go through the whole spiel and say, hey, it's going to be a 21-day challenge. But for you to get going on this challenge, you're going to have to eat right. And one of the supplements you're going to have to take is, protein, vitamins, this and that. So our first initial sale would be like $150, $200 would cover our cost of acquisition of that customer. And then we're a plus.
Off of the supplement.
That was our first. That's how we made sure that we covered the cost.
What was the cost of acquisition
Was it like
on that?
affiliate?
$45 per lead. Yeah. So we were there, and then what happened was that we came, and then second week before their package would expire, would hit them up and say, how's it been going, and then try to convert them to now an online client. And so what I would do is that's how I kept everybody sharp and everybody busy. So like we were just on the phones. The leads were coming in, we're working them, we're calling people working from home, people working from the gym. So I had people from the gym 3 days a week, 2 days a week from home. 2 days a week from home was all Zoom and training. So we did sales and training. So when we came out in June, that's I think the first month that we opened up, we had like the biggest month in the company history. And we started growing like 15%, 20% month over month. And then it like when the recession talks started happening again, it kind of tapered off and slowed down. But right after COVID, man, we're like, bam, like we were growing like crazy. So, and I thought, and again, the biggest part was I felt like everybody started from ground up, and we didn't lose. We gained more culture. We gained more.
But you got ahead of it.
Yeah, it changed too. It was a different whole thing. Like it wasn't the same thing that people were doing. So it was actually a fresh board and a fresh slate that everyone.
And pivot, like you agree, like with bigger companies, it's harder for them to pivot. So they don't know.
Very
like with us,
difficult.
it's just like boom, we're doing this.
I mean, it's kind of like a survival of the fittest. A lot of people went out of business too, and it's like I hate to say that, but some people had to go out of business and needed to. I mean,
30,000 gyms across the country went out, right?
Crazy.
30,000 across the country.
I mean,
So I was getting so antsy when they actually like shut it down completely. I'm like 3 months in. I'm like, dude, I'm getting scared. What is going on? Like, when are they gonna stop? When are they gonna open this shit up? How can they do that? That was my thing. I was like, how can they really do that?
Yeah, me. Oh, sweet! I got a break. Okay, I don't gotta go anymore. That's closed.
Find an excuse. It was good.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
dude, I want to rewind for a second though, and I do want to get back to that. But can you walk us through, from the time that, let's say, were you part of that LA Fitness merger?
No, it was not before it.
Okay, so you left there,
Yeah.
and then did you immediately start your own thing, or did you go work at anywhere else, and like kind of where, like walk us through that last that 5-year gap between Onyx and Urban Active.
No, for sure. So I got fired from Urban Active.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You
So
own the baby part now.
I got
Who fired you, by the way?
Billy.
Billy?
Yeah.
Oh my!
The same guy that I hired right later.
Oh, dude. Did you guys make up?
He played it in a very creative way. Like, it came from the top. It wasn't his call kind of thing. And, like, you know, I didn't feel the culture kind of thing. So, yeah, man, honestly, back then, it was just like, it was so I was with Bally's originally, and that's how I got on board with Urban Active, because I was the golden child of Bally's. I was like #1 sales manager in the country.
I heard from Matt Catalano.
Oh yeah, I was the youngest. I was the youngest GM in the country. Like at that, and Bally's was the mecca of the fitness. There was no other competitors at that time. So when I got recruited to come to Urban, I was like, there was no, like, I had to restart. I had to rebuild that. Nobody really knew me, but it wasn't that. And so I felt like I never got my handle in that company, and I never got like the respect that I built up with the other company and I was trying to do here. And so I lost so much income and everything else. When I was with Urban Active towards the last of my days, dude, I was going through bankruptcy. I was going through foreclosures over my car. Lost all my cars, everything. I was
serious?
Oh yeah. Literally, I remember the day I got fired from Urban Active, I went home, which was I was getting foreclosed probably in the next 6 months. Had no electricity, had no water.
What year was this?
This is 2012, 2010.
That long ago.
Yeah, what do you mean, all of them? How many did you have?
Oh, what?
Cars.
Like
all of my cars.
Hey, this dude was.
When I was 19, dude. When I was 19, I had a boat, a 350Z, a Hummer, a motorcycle, a car. Like, and I built that from ground. My dad's a truck driver, so like I built that from working at a gym.
Dude, so let me say this. This dude was always a hustler, man, and he was always working. But this dude always rolled up in class. While I was rolling up in a S10, this dude was rolling up in class. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, man. So it was
still in an S10.
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
I'm prepared.
I saw that oldie you bought like 2 years ago or a year ago. You had was it like a Corvette or was
it 67 Shelby or 65 Shelby?
Was that what, man?
Yeah.
You still had it?
I still got it. She cute. She cute.
The shop has it. You don't have it.
Stop. Hey, I got free storage. Because my garage
free winter storage.
No, that's the thing about old cars is like you get into, and I love and I know we bond over that, but it's one of those things like you get into it and you're like. You drive it for 2 months, and next thing you know, it's in the shop.
Wait, no,
you
not
drive it for 2 months.
How about 2 days?
Yeah,
listen,
I was gonna say
it was, dude. My Mustang caught fire. I just happened to be in front of his house, and he's like,
he calls me like, "You home? No, why? My car caught fire." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it here and walk." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
I got that.
I just walk to my house and go pick up one of my cars and take it, dude. Like, yeah, near your house.
Dude, he's like, "Yeah, just go take the Bentley, dude."
Just take it.
Okay.
Dude, I sold it. I have a Mustang Mach 1.
Ooh, so you're a car guy. You love cars.
So I bought a shop. You didn't know about this.
No, I didn't.
I got a shop. So it's like the back end. It's like Onyx One is the.
What does Onyx stand for, by the way? Besides the stone.
Well, that's what it is. It is.
Okay.
That's what it is. It was named after that. But yeah, during COVID, not to fast forward too much, but when we shut down, we were shut down for so long, for 2-3 months, and I was bored, and so I bought a shop and opened up a shop, and then that's
diversified, man.
like a mechanic shop. Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wait, now we know where to send your car.
It's called.
You have a source of income flow right here.
Bring it in,
dude.
And my drones.
The Grand National, something is breaking.
One of our cars will be in the shop.
Bring it in. Work at everything. Dude, my guy's a genius. Literally, my partner mechanic, he's a straight up genius.
I have a 75 rolls that hasn't started in a year because I haven't.
Bring it by, man.
Give it. We just need to get a tow truck.
Tow it to us. I'm telling you.
Tow it
Say
up.
like any friends of ours that would have a shop, we always talked about this. We need to open our own because our cars are all.
I own it. I was like, man, just to make me having my service in my own cars. I was like, this is great.
That itself pays
I was
for
like, I'll come in, pick up some cash every week. You know what I mean? And just have a show. Like, I'm good.
Just give me some G's out of that register. Okay, cool.
That's exactly what happens.
How do you want money? Just take care of the car.
But this is your money. Here's a account.
And not to be whatever, but that's kind of like an immigrant way of doing things, man. You're not
figure it out.
You're
first generation, dude. I moved here when I was 12.
Where are you from?
Baku. Yeah,
ask him where that is. Ask him where that is. Ask him how do you pronounce it if he knows where it is. Where's Baku, Terry?
It's in the
where? Where is it?
In the Earthel.
I even asked him yesterday. I was like, "You know where Baku is?" And he still don't know.
Dude, I Googled it.
How disrespectful of you!
Hey, he knew my drink. He was prepared for
He
my
knows a
drink.
drink, but you don't know what Baku is.
Hey, there was
That's
a soccer
the
player
mentality right there. Oh yeah, let's drink. Screw everything else.
There was a soccer player that came up in a red jersey, and he looked like he was legit. So I was like, all All right. Well,
Why change the subject? Where's Baku?
it's in the Earthel region.
In the general
No, it's cool. I mean,
sphere.
it's like by Caspian Sea. It's like similar to Dubai. now.
Azerbaijan, right?
Yeah, Azerbaijan. Yeah, it's like an oil country, you know. So I moved here when I was 12. Like, I didn't know English. Didn't. So I just kind of from scratch, man. So
When I saw that, I was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I've known
No, a lot of
you
people
guys
don't
how
know. A
long.
lot of people don't know
I had no idea.
because people they're like, you don't have an accent, and so
Look more Italian.
So I get Italian, I get
Dude,
Brooklyn,
I thought
I
you were
get
straight
Lebanese,
Italian.
I get all kinds, man. So no, it was crazy because like when I moved here, I remember like because we went like all the immigrants went to like immigrant class, and then like half a day we
What does that consist
no,
of?
listen, like half it would be like Chinese, Russian, it'll be Ukrainian, it'll be German, all these different, and then you go into this class half a day with a teacher that can help you through all the through the class, and then the other half of the day you go to your regular classes. And what happened was I was like, man, I just didn't feel like I would be kind of like get into the system if I just kept my group that. So when I got in, I just started playing wrestling. I started playing football. And I think immediately I got myself out of that group, and I just was not. And then the crazy part is like when we all graduated, they still had accents, like strong accents. I was just normal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because I was just friends with all my football players, wrestlers. So like it was just an easy transition.
Just got integrated.
I didn't know you wrestled either, man.
Yeah. You know I do jiu-jitsu now.
Yeah. Well, I knew that. I knew
You're a
that.
dangerous man.
I competed last year, Arnold. So I competed 2 years ago. I got gold at Arnold 2 years
Nice.
ago.
No kidding.
Congrats.
Yeah, at white belt.
You gonna put a gym in Columbus or?
We're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to.
Where at?
I don't know yet. Down the street from you.
Oh my god!
Across the street.
I knew it was coming.
Across the street.
Yeah. Damn, man.
No.
Dude, there's a spot across the street.
You
actually.
just
I'll
stay.
show
You just stay a little bit farther away, man. You work harder than I do.
He's gonna take your cars. He's gonna take your clients, man. It's all going.
So,
Dude, I'm gonna have his story in like 2 years. Man, I lost my cars. Got foreclosed
Emil came in
on.
one day, and the next day, I lost
I lost
everything.
no, man, but go back. It was crazy, honestly, like losing all that. And then I remember like sitting on the couch, and so when we moved to Columbus, I rented that house out because I bought it and I rented it out, and I did rent to own to a family. They hit me up with a 30-day notice, like, hey, we're bouncing out. I'm like, what do you mean? You're like, you guys are buying the house? Like, no, sue us. So I come back and I look at the house. They were running a dog kennel out of my basement.
Oh,
The cement was with piss and shit.
I
Stained
love the
into
real
it.
estate story.
Literally like stained and smell. I'm not real estate. I didn't even know how to get it out. And you got your ace, like
You gotta
your
You should have called me.
and the shit's blowing.
You should have
now.
called me 3 years in the future.
Hey, it's okay. We
Could've
don't
helped you out.
I bought a bunny house, man. Bunny shit smells even
It's
worse.
worse.
Oh my gosh. They have this like kennel downstairs, probably the size of this room. There's like bunny crap everywhere in the entire house. I'm like, what the heck is the smell? Then later from a neighbor, I find out they had bunnies, they had roosters, they had, I'm like, what is this?
We
A fart?
had one that had a legit wolf. It was a legit wolf. We're still
The
in
wolf
the
house.
process.
The wolf house.
The wolf
That's
house.
the wolf house.
Man,
You
so it
walked
was
back
nuts.
there was a cage.
Not a husky.
pacing back and forth.
There was a straight wolf.
Oh, straight wolf.
Freaking wolf.
You should have brought her over to the office, man. That'd be a guard dog.
The mascot.
Yeah,
A guard
that's
wolf?
Guard
Yeah.
wolf. What is it, wolf or wolf?
Yeah, it was a wolf.
Dog go wolf. A wolf is an animal.
I know. I got corrected so many times by my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, a wolf. He's like, no.
A what?
Wolf.
How come we're the foreigners? We say wolf, and you guys are wolf.
He's from South Africa. Yeah.
Grab that one. That thing ain't working today.
But no, man, it was crazy. It was like, and then I came in and I literally have. It's the other way.
By the way.
No.
Pop the top.
Pop the top. Yeah, dude, I hate that one.
It's tricky. You're like flipping it over. But no, man, it was crazy because then, so I come back and I turn on the HVAC and I literally smell shit just blowing through the house. So I'm like, damn. So I had Coleman come in, and at this time, again, I have no job. This is getting foreclosed. I don't know how long. I already like whatever. And I remember sitting there. I'm sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden I hear boom, boom. What the fuck was that? My tub from the second floor bathroom came through the kitchen. They cracked the tub, and there was a crack in there, so the water kept seeping through, and it came down all the way through, and it was literally coming out like this out of my kitchen, like a tub.
Oh my god.
So now I'm sitting there.
That tops any of my real estate stories.
And then I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there. I'm like, man. And then so finally, like, I have no money for groceries, nothing. So I called my buddy that owned the land, like he worked as a landscaper.
You couldn't go to insurance with that?
I had no insurance. I had no mortgage. I'm not even paying anything. Like what?
You've been there, Terry Summers.
So like, hey, you're
Terry
insurance.
Summers. I don't want to make a claim. I don't want to make a claim.
So man, so then that happens, and then I'm just sitting there. So I got him to move in to pay like $300-$400 a month just to pay groceries, have lights on and whatnot. So then I applied to work at a technology company, Toshiba. Got a job, and then that's kind of where everything just kind of started taking off again. Got my feet wet, get everything kind of settled up again. Had to rebuild everything. So now I'm operating with no credit, bankruptcy, right? So like just happened. So I'm now running these. Was working at Toshiba, was working at Sharp, doing the technology thing, and then finally I was like, man, somebody hit me. I was like, dude, I've been running businesses and operating from all these different angles for people. And when I was with Sharp, I was already like in a leadership role. So I was running the office. I was doing everything, working with headhunters, sales, marketing, hiring, recruiting. I was like, I got to do something on my own. So I went on and started a app, and an app to help like manage the salespeople and help them manage the territories better. So doing that, and that failed tremendously. And then I was telling him I was down to like $500 or $1,000 on my account. Had a wedding coming up in 9 months. No money. And
Your wedding?
My wedding. 9 months.
Damn.
Which is very early.
Yes. So 9 months wedding coming up, all these different things. And no, you're thinking about somebody else.
Sorry.
No, you're thinking about the previous. No, this one I was with.
What did you have?
This one, not that one. No, not that one. No, this one was, I was with her for 4 years before we got married. And then, so 4 or 5 years. And then, so finally, it was Valerie. Valerie, she's my wife now with 2 kids. And so, long story short, got down to my last money. I was like, man, I'm going to download an Uber and Lyft. I remember I'd taken the Uber ride, and I dropped this girl off in Cleveland Heights, this little city, Cleveland. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I came back to the office, and I started a staffing and recruiting firm on the spot. Yes, and Omni Staffing, an executive search firm. So called up one of my guys that worked for me at that company previously. He wouldn't go to the office. After I quit that company that I was working with, he's like, dude, I just want to come work for you. I'm like, I have no money. I can't hire you. He's like, can I just come work out of your office? And he still worked for that company and came in to work out of my office.
Oh, wow.
So we're sitting there, and and I'm like, dude, I'm down to like $1,000, man. Like, I have rent on this office due next month. I got no money to pay this rent. I got wedding coming up in 9 months. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I sat there and I was like, I'm about to start a recruiting company. And he's like, how? I was like, first we're going to come up with a name. So we're literally sitting just like this. He's like, what's the name? I was like, Omni Staffing. Omni means all. Like, we do staffing for all. So he's like, how are we going to find clients? I was like, open up a laptop. I Googled companies in the area hiring. It was a company that hired in the area out of Westlake, Ohio, and they needed a sales rep, $70,000 salary. Pick up the phone. Hello. I was like, oh, man, speak to the HR manager, the owner. She's like, yeah, let me patch you down to HR. I was like, around lunchtime. Goes to the HR, goes to the voice, like, hey, how you doing? My name is Emil. I'm calling from Omni Staffing, executive search firm. I was like, I see you guys looking to fill a position, and I have a perfect candidate for you. Give me a call back when you get a chance. Click. Me and Zach start talking. Ring, ring, ring. I'm like, holy shit. I answer the phone.
Hi, it's Emil. Yeah, you're kind of Emil as well.
Answer the phone, and she's like, hey, you just called us. She's like, yeah, thanks for the call. She's like, yeah, we've been trying to fill that like for 6 months. We worked with other recruiting firms. They charge 20%. Then we hire people, then they don't work out. Then they charge us again and all this stuff. I'm like, look, I'm going to charge you 10% as an introductory rate. I was like, really want to show you what we can do for you. I was like, and once we do it, I was like, we'll go to a normal rate. But I was like, I really want to earn your trust in the business. So this is what we'll do. I'll send you the candidate I have. I was like, we'll send you a contract now. We charge $5,000 retainer, and that was like in the difference because it was 10%, so $7,000.
Yeah.
I was like, we'll do $5,000 retainer, and we'll do the difference once we fill the position. And then if he doesn't work out, I was like, I'll give you a 90-day guarantee that we'll refill it with the next candidate, no cost. She's like, send me the contract. Click. He's like, what the fuck just happened? Call my wife.
Wait, this was the same night?
This is same day. This is within 5 minutes of us coming up with a company name, not having an LLC, not having a phone number. This is me calling.
I love these stories. I love these stories.
That's how you do it.
When your back's against the wall, that's why, like, when people are, like, rich people are really like, yeah, I'm not going to leave my kids shit. I'm like, oh, they'll probably do better because of it.
So I got 2 mindsets on that, and the reason why I have 2 mindsets on that comes from leadership, and I'll tell you that, not to pivot too quickly. I feel like in leadership, your job is to provide the path of least resistance for the people that are following you. And because why are you going to try to make it harder for them to get to the destination if you already made all the mistakes? That's the whole purpose of a mentor, right? He's going to be like, man, don't make this move. Don't make this move. Don't do this. Do this. And I look at parenting this way, not having my kids now, and I had the same mindset. I was like, no, my come up was so hard. They're going to go through the same shit. But as you go through this, and as I had so many people work for me over the years, I'm like, man, like, why would I make it easier on these random people that I don't even know? But I'm going to make it harder on my own kids? No, I'm going to make them earn it. I'm going to make them understand the value of different things, but I'm going to give them, like, yo, don't do that. No, don't do this.
It's
like,
all
here.
education. It's how
Yeah,
you teach
So
them.
that's one.
Giving it to them and showing them is probably.
So there's I was on a call probably a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And this guy was a life estate planner. And I'm in this mastermind with people that are a little bit older than I. And they're worried about, man, my kids, and they're doing like life insurance and all this types of stuff. And he said there's 3 things you can leave your kids. There's stuff. These are your, hey man, this is my first baseball card, man. This is, the
baseball gloves.
This was my offer letter I got when I got to this college.
Yeah.
That's your stuff. That's your meaningful things. That's number 1. And there's money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we all fight about, right? My grandfather died 3 years ago.
Okay.
And there's my mom and 3 brothers. And they're like, well, the house, and there was another house they had as a rental property. And they're like, well, what do we do? And I'm like, guys, I don't really want to be a part of this. I'll give you an appraiser. He can do all this stuff, but I personally I don't want to be involved.
Were you already in the real estate business?
Oh yeah. This was 2019.
Yeah.
So I'm like, listen, I don't want to be involved with that. But I for me, the whole money thing, like it was
dirty kind of at the time.
Very. And then you can leave wisdom. And I'm like, well, how do you leave wisdom? And so one of the things that I started doing is every time I get a thought, like I just put a camera on my face. I'm like, hey son, this is something I'm thinking about. This is a life lesson I want you to learn.
That's really cool.
And I'm not sure when I'll give those to my kid, but maybe it's when he's 21, or maybe I release a few episodes.
That's really cool.
Of my little, hey son, I'm at
TikToks and they'll watch them.
they're directly to my son.
I love that.
And so you can give them stuff, you can give them money, or you can give them wisdom. And so it goes back to what you guys were talking about, like, what do you give?
Yeah.
What do you give?
I know we had a intern here, and it seemed like he had probably been handed everything, right?
It seemed to be, but he was a hard worker.
He was hard,
really was very hard.
You found out, but Terry ran him through.
I'm like, you came for money?
This poor kid.
You're gonna be in this basement, damn it!
There was times when we were out and we were all getting ready to drive back to the office together. He's like, I swear to God.
To make you walk
he was like, nah, find a way back. And I was like, oh my God, this poor
and
kid.
he kept around.
But that's, yeah, he did.
You know
That's
what?
good.
He
And
respects
you
me
ran
now.
into him.
But no, and again, that I love that, to be honest with you, because that's in the world.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
That's the name of the show, by the way.
You don't have to
Let's be
ding it
honest.
every time.
I
need one of those-
tag
I
it.
need a-
Tag
I need
it.
one
Brian's like,
Harry's I had a button actually when I worked at this at one of the office, and it was a bullshit button, and then because that's
We need that.
and it was like
Bullshit.
literally it would do it, would be like, and they would have different voices, and it'd be like, this is bullshit, and it was just, you had like 4 or 5 different voices. It was hilarious, but yeah, one of those buttons. But no, man, it was crazy stuff.
Yeah, man. So let's fast forward into past the Urban Active days, past all of that stuff, and then what made you start Onyx Fitness?
So while I was doing that, got really successful with a staffing recruiting firm. So first, to back it up a second, it was like boiler room style. So we literally didn't have no systems and processes. So we got that first.
So it was like Urban Active.
No, pretty close. Nobody knew what the fuck they're doing. No, so honestly, it was cool. That's your learning lesson. So when we first got going, when I got that first client, literally she signed the contract. We actually filled that position. We're like, yo, we got a business. So the way I got the contract, my wife at that time was working at a staffing company. I was like, yo, send me a contract, rewritten it all, sent it to her, got it signed. We filled that position. I was like, Zach, we got a business. He's like, dude, that was easy as shit. I was like, yep. I was like, so your job, I was like, you're going to find recruiters. I'm going to find customers. I've created systems and processes. So within few weeks, we have this whole table set up. There's like 10, 15 recruiters. Literally, we have one office boy room. We're just calling. And we have, again, when I say system of process, we're calling gas stations. We're calling dealerships. We're calling anybody that has employees. So we don't have, again, who's our prospect? We don't know. Anybody that has an employee.
If they got a pulse.
Yeah, we're calling. Yes. So we're literally, and people are calling. You see people calling for an hour or two. Like, yeah, I'll be right back in a smoke break. Yo, where'd John go? He left. Lunch. Boom. He left. By the end of the week, I'm looking at Zach and nobody else is here. So it's just me and him again. So we go 3 months with not making one dime. Not one dime.
No shit.
And finally, but that's $7,000 like lasted the rent and everything else. So we make 3 months, no money. And, that we ended the year doing like 250 grand in sales. The second year, brand new, we did $1 million, and then the third year we did a 1.72 mil.
That's some hell of growth.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
hella growth.
I felt like it was not real for me because it was, again, headhunting, recruiting. At that time, we already started charging 20%, fees. We get a job, somebody that's on the salary, 200 grand salary, that's 60 grand. The company's writing us a check, filling that position. I would literally get to a point where we're walking into, the office, and I got voicemail from my current customers like, we had factories. We specialize in sales, IT, and manufacturing. So I would have.
IT is a big staff thing.
It was, Bill. Yeah, it was really good for us.
A lot of.
So I remember our manufacturing. We had the owner. He calls me up. He's like, "Hey, Emil." He's like, "I need a plant manager. 200,000 salary, bonuses or whatnot." And while I'm listening to that voicemail, I'm like, all right, cool, write it down on my notepad. Very next voicemail. Hey, how you doing, Emil? Heard about your company. I'm a plant manager moving from Chicago, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, holy shit. Like, that was literally like, I take his resume, within 15 minutes, send him to the CEO, and we already had a relationship. He's like, book me an interview today. He's like, I need somebody. Call this guy up. I'm like, hey, I got client that literally needs to make a move today. Like, can you drive here today? Like, how soon can you get here? This is 10:15, 11 o'clock. He got there at 4 o'clock, got to Cleveland at 4 o'clock, straight drive through, went to the interview. By 5:30, 6 o'clock, gave him an offer. The guy sent me in the next day. We placed him. We did a temporary place. So I made 60 grand within 1 day. That's how it was.
Isn't that like,
Dude, wholesaling real estate, dude. Wholesaling real estate.
That's
wholesaling people.
It's like the benchmark for like action cures all.
Yeah.
Because literally you could have sat there and thought about the name of the business for 4 days.
Yes.
Or planned out the whole thing or whatever, but you literally just called them, made your first one. You're like, oh shit, this works.
Yeah. I was telling Mike here, I was telling him that there's a Steve Jobs has this quote, stay foolish, stay hungry. And I think that got stuck with me. It was like, people overthink shit. People,
like analysis.
Yeah, man. It's like just move. And the whole stay foolish part is like, just don't overthink. Like, stay foolish enough that's going to happen. Stay foolish enough, like, I'm going to be able to make this happen regardless of what the obstacle is, regardless of what the adversity is. I'm going to make it happen. And that's the foolish part that doesn't, pushes you through.
That's what we would always see in sales is that the people that, when they first come in, their first like 3-4 months, they're killing it.
Yeah.
Because they're not thinking. They're just like selling. But as soon as they start to learn all the programs and learn all the little boxes they need to fit people in, they start overthinking and they stop doing the work.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And their production goes down all the time.
It just reminds me of, again, wholesaling real estate. And the most successful people that you see wholesaling real estate are not the systems guys. They're not the guys that have it all figured out.
They're still hustling it.
Just hustling.
They're hustling with pen and pad and maybe an Excel spreadsheet. And you're like, dude, how did you make 250 grand wholesaling real estate this month?
It ain't easy. Still up to the work.
I was door knocking.
Door knocking. They're like,
well, that's
you're literally out knocking doors.
A lot of people don't want to do the work, and they think you can just do it. Like, I'm a wholesaler, and I want to sit back and watch. It's like, why am I not making money? Because you're not doing the dang work.
I think that story is like powerful because like, especially like going into whatever we're going into today. Yeah. I mean, let's be real. We had the Fed meeting today. That was
shorted today.
Dude,
where's my short button when I need it? I cut on both sides. I bought it at the up, and then I was like, no, it's going down now.
Just so you know, Bobby is a full-time trader as well. And so he just needs direction in the market. And like,
whenever Powell speaks, I love it because I'm like, I know what's going to happen. Whenever he speaks, boom. It never fails, dude. Doesn't matter what he says.
Closing my eyes.
But then what's crazy is like, people will be like, oh, it's hopeful.
No, that's what they trap you. Boom. They want to be like, oh yeah, FOMO, dude. FOMO is real. And people will see, like, oh, I want to buy. And that's when I was like, all right, now it's time to short it. And you watch it sink and you make some money.
Yeah,
Today was a good short day.
Yeah,
That's
no
awesome.
kidding, man. But
No, man, but it was a crazy story. But now it was so we were making so much money in that to transition into. So at that time, I was like, but before that, remember, I lost everything. So I was like a squirrel. I was like, man, I'm about to start every business under the sun. So when I started making that money, at that time, I started a moving company, I started a bracelet company, I invested in a car dealership. What else did I have going at that time?
and you probably had 0 LLCs at this point.
Oh, no, I did.
Okay,
At that time,
all
I
right,
got
all
real.
right,
At that time, I got serious because I was already pulling in real cash. I was like, I can't. No, I was literally, so the moving company, literally, I had a client from the staffing company that we staffed for moving. Guys would come in every time and just start bitching about, like, hey, the owner didn't show up, didn't pay me, this, and that. And I would literally have to call these owners of these companies and consult them how to run their business so they can keep my staff employed because these guys didn't want to work for them. So I'm like, dude, I'm consulting these guys. Now I'm like, what am I doing here? So one day I got so pissed. We had 2 men in a truck. We had all these different companies under our roof. And I had 4 managers, and then I had crews, and I would break them out between those clients, and they would go. So one day I got so pissed, I called the managers of those moving crews. I was like, I know you guys bitch all the time, this, and that. I was like, I'll buy trucks. We'll start our own moving company. You guys down? You guys are going to come in and work? Like, 100%. Called all the clients. I was like, hey, we're going to have to cancel our contracts for, I was like, we're going in a different direction, and we're going to be doing our own thing. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, we're going to go a different direction. I was like, I'm going to be pulling those employees out. Pulled them out, canceled the contracts. But if you Google it right now, go to Google Gamidov Movers, you'll see a truck with a whole.
Hey, pull that up.
Type in Gamidov
Pull that
Movers.
up over there.
Pull up Gamidov
It's like
Movers
vertical
on
integration
Google.
though in the
Go to
world.
Google. Go to
You
Google
move
and
and
go
our
to
TV
images.
goes off. That's
Go
great.
to images.
Gambit?
Gamidov. Gambit is my podcast that we're starting. Actually, Gambit. Type in
right on
Gamidov
one.
Movers. But so, long story short, started that company, and
What year is this, by the
How do
way?
you spell that?
this is 2017.
Okay,
There you go.
2000,
got it.
2016, 2017.
Got it.
So started the moving company, and we're killing it. So I had that going. So at that time, I was just scared of losing, man. I would literally wake up in the middle of the night, cold sweat. Wake up in the middle of the night like I'm gonna lose everything. Wake up in the middle of the night like this is not real. And you pull it up.
No.
He's trying.
You have to pay the internet bill.
No, it's not me. It's
You
not
pay the
business
Spectrum bill,
anymore.
Carrie?
Go to
I'm just
Google.
kidding.
Oh,
There you go. Go to Google. Go to images. Go to images.
What are we looking for?
Oh, I thought you
You'll
were
see the
have
trucks.
it.
No, you see the trucks?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
sweet.
baby.
Wow, man.
Look at the bottom truck.
Dude, that looks official.
Oh, no, everything I did was branding and marketing official,
It
baby.
That
looks
is a
like
food
you
truck.
move Italian.
I didn't know
sauce.
that. I didn't know that.
That is a food truck if I've ever seen it.
Italian food truck, bro. You make pizzas in a hot oven in 7 minutes.
Hey,
in
we had to
those
figure out.
trucks.
We had to figure out.
Well, let me ask you this though. So, like, I'm a big
No,
strong
but it
believer.
just looks like it. Like
Hold on.
the ribbon and the red.
Like, I'm a very strong believer in like mentality makes money.
Yeah.
So it's like wherever you get put into, if you have the right mentality to go into it, like how did you get your mentality of doing all this? Like, was it instilled from family?
Good
parents,
point,
or-
man. So
like-
it's crazy because so I got brought up. You know how like you're a kid, your parents probably read you like bedtime stories. You know, my mom read me my zodiac. My zodiac is I'm a month of a Leo, year of a tiger.
Wait, grenading happened with Mercury the other day, right? Is that what they call it when Mercury grenades
On
stuff?
Saturday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So my bedtime stories was like, you're gonna conquer the world, like you're gonna be so like that was it. So my mom was like very optimistic. I call her right now, like, Mom, think about robbing the bank. She'd be like, you sure? I'm like, yep.
Get the biggest bank.
She's like, she'll be like, all right, don't do, be careful this. And you're like, she will not talk me out of it. She'll
Yeah.
trust, like, my dad on the other side, like, very pessimistic, like, yo, don't do this. Are you going to fail? You thought about this? Like, so it was a different mindset. So honestly, coming up, I always tell people confidence is self-grown because confidence grows from shit that you've been through your life, shit that you overcame, things that so like, I don't care what somebody thinks about me. Like, they don't know. So it's like, confidence is like things that I overcame, things, obstacles, and I had to overcome shit straight out of high school. Like, I came here not knowing the language, so like I had 2.5 GPA when I graduated, so it wasn't like easy for me. I had to graduate. I remember my senior year going to grab my cap and gown like 4 or 6 months before, register for the cap and gown, and they're like, you're not graduating. I was like, what do you mean I'm not graduating? They're like, yeah, you don't have enough credits to graduate. I had to figure out. I literally went and I signed up for Regina Girls Old School, paid a tutor money to tutor me to give me credits to graduate in time. Like, and honestly,
And he probably sold something to be able to.
but you know the crazy part is that
I'll take you this for a tutor.
I remember this because I remember the day that I was told I'm not going to graduate. I remember they sent a letter to my dad. My dad's like, all right, well, you fucked up. He's like, you're gonna be a laborer, like go be a plumber, like go do something like that, like just choose a trade and just do that. And I remember like that was the turning point where I was like, I knew everything was going against me, like, man, 17, 18-year-old, like, and I figured it out a way. And I was like, man, there's nothing else that can be closed doors that I'm not gonna figure out. So like, I think that's where it came from, like just failing, succeeding, and knowing like that's where the self-confidence built in. That it's just now.
I mean, that's awesome. That's how it should be. But like you were saying, like, you want to set a path for people, especially your kids. You want to give them stuff, but you want to set them a path and not have them go through that.
Yeah.
How does someone learn confidence if they don't go through that?
True. The way you teach confidence is by giving them. The way you teach somebody confidence is not by giving it. So, for example, for staff or employees, you hired somebody, right?
Yeah.
The same mindset. You hired somebody, and you're like, hey, man, your goal is, for example, to go get 5 wholesaling these today. You're like, man, he's going to go out. He's going to fail. He's going to be like, damn, I suck at this. I'm not good at this. I'm never going to do it now. Different conversation like, hey, I don't know how many you're going to get. Here's a system and a process. If you can get 1 today, that'll be a huge win for you today. They go out and they get that 1, like, whoo, I'm the man, baby. I just did it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, that's the mindset that I think that comes where it's like you give people ability to win by little, and then you build their confidence up. If you're a leader, if you're a parent, if you're somebody else, you're not setting them up for failure. If you're setting them up for failure, they're gonna fail. They're not gonna succeed.
That's what makes a great leader too. I think. See, same scenario, same position. You can just be like, hey, go do this, and someone fails. Or if you word it a different way, same scenario, they're gonna succeed and do it. I mean, that's awesome. That's strong right there.
Do you incur? And I'm not sure how old are your kids?
4 and 2.
Okay. Do you do any like reading with them already, or is there any like programming you try to do with them already?
So one thing that we're doing with our kids, they're getting homeschooled. We're not putting them into the homeschool school system. Yeah, we don't know. I don't believe in the school system.
Why?
I was told that I'm going to be a garbage man by my teachers.
Dude, I wanted to be one when I was little. I wanted to be one.
I was looking forward to it.
You're gonna hang out on the outside of the truck, hold on, ride around the city. Like, I want to do that.
You look like a great.
I know, man. I don't know.
This dude usually dresses up for the podcast. He come in all black. Like,
dude, what
happened to you earlier?
I was driving here the other day. I'm pulling in to I was like a couple blocks away, and I swear, garbage truck pulls right in front of me. The dude on the back, he's dancing. He's got in the middle of the street. He was dancing, having a great time. I'm like, that guy is living life.
Yeah, they're probably making 70, 80 grand a year.
They're good. 6 figures. Yeah.
Oh, so they're good. Stack away.
I think the schooling system and all that, it is different nowadays. Like before, like a long time ago, it was, more, learning about the world's ethics and all that. But nowadays, just everything's changed where they don't teach you the right things and they kind of set you up to fail in a certain way.
For sure.
Like the entire world has changed with the schooling system.
But think about it, like who's teaching you to be successful? A teacher that's making $30,000 a year. You know what I mean? That doesn't have an outlook on life and like doesn't really know how to.
I had a teacher email me today that literally said, I can't get out of my student loans. But the way he's thinking about the student loan debt is like, man, I got to pay it all off, right? I got to pay it all off. So that way I don't have the payment anymore. Instead of trying to figure out how to find another revenue stream, right? That's the way that we think. Yeah. We always think about, man, you can increase your income to infinite.
Correct.
You can only cut your expenses to 0. But he's been taught his whole life, I got to cut my expenses to 0.
Manage, cut expenses.
Yeah. You can't cut your expenses to 0.
Yeah.
And so I think that's interesting, with the whole school system and the way that you think. But, I think they serve a purpose too, a huge purpose. And, my niece, she's going to college. She's going to graduate. She's going to be the 3rd person in my family to graduate after me. I was the 2nd, my extended family. And, she's going to be a teacher. Yeah. And that was her love. That's what she wants to do. But we also I'm trying to teach her, like, hey, you're going to have a side hustle. You're going to have another thing. Or, man, like, you need to make sure, like, your man is, exactly. It's going to be a supporting arm. But, I think that's interesting because my kids go to public school, like good school district, whatever. I've got to that point. But I think it definitely sets them up to be in a certain path. Mm-hmm. And that path may or may not be the right path for every single person. I mean, you have tradespeople that are making hella money right now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You have people like us that have chose a completely different path and said, F school, we're going to do whatever we want to do, and have done very, very well for ourselves. So I agree with you, but I think the one thing for me is the social aspect. Mm-hmm. With kids, and being able to interact with kids, like how are you going to deal with that part?
So I think everybody brings that up to me. So one thing again, so my reasoning for that is I want to control as much as I can. Man, so many households are messed up, and those kids bring those households into the school, and they teach racism, and they teach this, and they teach
complete bullshit.
So they teach all these. Dude, my kids don't even know what the difference of like
They don't know
different colors. They don't even. No, my kids don't even know the difference between black, white, Asian, Chinese. Like they look at everybody the same because that's not the conversation we have in our household.
Like in a good way.
No, for real. Like, they have no idea. Like they're never say like, oh, that person's like nut. Like so I think that's one thing that I'm trying to protect them from. I don't want the bad households to whatever parents that teaching their kids to almost subliminally teach my own parents or my own kids. So that's the biggest reason. Again, this other second reason is because again what the experience I got through school, my teachers, that like how I didn't get motivated. I got belittled. You're not going to do this. You're not going to be able to be successful. Just quit. Just don't. You know what I mean? And it wasn't in a way of like motivating. It was in a way of you just not good enough. You're going to do this. So, and the crazy part is that at my high school, if you look at it in my class, like again, I'm one of the successful. You know what I mean? Like like that's the crazy part. So out of my school. So, that's the reason I was at this convention, and I met this dude from Canada. He was a billionaire manufacturing guy. He had 4 sons, and he said the only reason I'm sending my kids to school, and this is something to go back off of what you said, is so they can learn how to communicate with people one day that will work for them. The only reason I'm sending my kids to school is so they can learn how to communicate with people one day that they'll work for them. Yeah. So I was like, man, okay, so that makes sense, and I understand that. So the social aspect, I'm just trying to get my kids involved in every sport. You know, like so I coach. Yeah, man, like my daughter's gymnastics, soccer, dance. You know, I'm coaching a soccer team. You know, my son's gonna be starting doing different things. So they're the most social kids you'll ever meet. You'll meet them. I am always trying to like teach him like, yo, that guy, there's good guys and there's bad guys. You don't just run up to anybody. Yeah. Like, yo, like, and that's how they are.
Candy.
No, they're super social. Yeah. And
it was Halloween.
Don't take candy from a stranger except on Halloween. Then go bring some home to daddy.
Just dress up.
So no, man. So they're super social. That's something that we're trying to really focus on. But we feel like my wife, we're trying to take this mindset of you do education in home and you properly have a systematic process, they're getting so much more. There's no distraction. There's no other kids. There's nothing. So that 2 hours that you're spending them is equivalent to them being in school for 5, 6, 7, 10 hours. Yes. Right. In Europe, that's what they do. In Sweden, they go to school 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, and then the rest is out in the field in the parks.
And they're focused.
Yeah, and it's small. So she is 4 years old, man. She is. We see like our friends, we see how she's comparable to, the kids that she plays soccer with and everything else, intellectual level. I don't talk to her about what do you want to do when you grow up. My question's been to her since she was 2 years old. She started talking, hey, what business you going to start? What business you going to start every single day? Now it went from like stupid like things that she would come up with. Now she has a straight up like vision. She's like, no joke. She's like, I want to have an ice cream truck. I'm like, who's gonna drive it? She's like, you're gonna drive it. I'm like, who's gonna sell? She's like, well, mommy's gonna sell. I'm like, how much are they gonna be? She's like, well, between $4 to $6. This is a 4-year-old.
$4 to $6 for some ice cream?
Yeah, no, yeah. But by then,
I was like, to Jenny's.
That's a good deal.
And ice cream is super profitable business. By the way. Super profitable
It's
business.
just ice and cream.
So I was like, I'm gonna buy you guys. I already came up. I was like, I'm gonna buy you guys a little truck in the summer. Mom is gonna drive. You guys will sell. She'll park up all the money. I'm gonna provide all the products.
No, I want it on this, dude. Hold on.
I was like, whatever you guys. I was like, whatever you guys profit.
Investors, maybe.
Dude, I was like, whatever you guys profit. I was like, I'll go in your bank. By the time you graduate, you got 2 options. You take that, put it in college, or you take that, start a business. I was like, it's your money. So like, I'm already trying to teach them that process, and they're going to be socializing and, they're doing all these things. So, like, I am trying to set them up for that, but I don't know. The school system is just, I don't know.
I think everyone at this table agrees that the school system is completely flawed.
Oh, yeah.
It just needs changed, and you can't just teach 30 kids in a classroom the same exact thing all the time.
You heard of Rockefeller. That's where it came, man. Rockefeller, they created a school system to create workers. They created a school system. Ring at the bell. What does that sound like? A factory. Ring, ring, ring. You get up and go, oh, that's a factory. So they created.
Right.
They created.
The bell rings.
I thought that was lunchtime.
You raise your hand to go. Like, it's everything by permission. Everything. So like, it was taught how to follow. Show up on time. So uniform. You wear a uniform. You know what I mean? So like all these things.
I never put that correlation.
Everything was
bad.
No. But all that was created by them to create workers. There's so much thing that poured out there. Why would they want to create leaders? They want to create employees and workers to continuously perform. Yeah. So that was the whole. So the shit doesn't change. The system didn't change.
So one question for you: do you think that that's part of like? being like the immigrant mentality. Like Gary Vee always talks about like hustle like an immigrant.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's just part of like your DNA and the way that you grew up?
I don't know, man.
And I want to get back to the Onyx stuff and what you're doing now, but
no, honestly, I don't know, man. I can't say it for that because I can't. Because I don't know. The only thing, the way I look at it is just because I think you get to a certain level and you open up your eyes and you understand how the world works. And you're like, there is like how the Matrix, you know what I mean? Like there's that, I feel like there's this process where you have to either you're running on the wheel or you're running outside the wheel looking in, you know what I mean? So like, and I don't know, I think that I just came to that realization. And coming from, it doesn't matter if you immigrant or not, like if you see where you come from and you see like what your parents fight over, and you see that number one fighting reason is money in the household, and you see all these different things, so you realize that you're like, man, why would I want to live that life? And then the other part comes in is like making a choice, not living that life. And so
it's definitely culture more than like the immigrant mentality. A lot of people say that, but the immigrant mentality is a culture kind of, because when you come over here, whatever, you have something to prove in a way.
Yeah.
And also you see how it is to be poor, because usually when immigrants come here, they have less than people born up here, so you see people working hard, and that's just instilled, and it's part of the culture that you learn about it. It's not necessarily it's an immigrant mentality, it's just the whole culture, because there's a lot of immigrants that still don't do anything.
No,
succeed too. And it can go the other way as well too. So it's more of the culture that you're brought up in and learn. I mean, I was brought up over here, fortunately. My parents came over here, but they grew up, really poor and everything as well too. So you see that, and that's what you learn it from.
Yeah.
I think that's what gets in your head, like, okay, now I want to do this and be the same, or you learn what you do want to do and don't, where you don't want to be at in life.
And you have that mentality today.
Dude, everyone in the wheel thinks everyone outside of the wheel is crazy.
Well, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, for sure.
What did you say?
Which wheel?
I mean,
like 22s or 20s or
I'm rolling them 20s.
I know
they're 10s, but they're clean.
I keep them clean now. We got the same movie quotes, man. I love it, dude. So let's fast forward to your fitness clubs today.
Yeah.
What was the first one? What made you do it? Because you were in all these different businesses, and like I've had this shiny object syndrome too, to where you're like, man, I'm gonna do these gyms. I'm gonna do a brewery. Oh wait, I did all this shit and I lost a lot of money because my focus was here.
Oh yeah.
Because you seem like you did go from like a couple
different industries, vertical markets. Everybody's like, dude, you don't know shit about staffing. You don't know anything about moving. You don't know anything about cart. Like,
and nothing was congruent with one another, right?
No. So man, I think again it was the whole thing of losing everything, and I was just trying to like, I got confidence to a point where like I don't care what business it was. I was like, I gotta get customers. I gotta provide value to the customers, and I gotta learn how to sell. And that was it. So it doesn't matter what business it is. That's what you gotta do. 3 different things.
Did you go back to gyms because it's what you knew?
I
did that.
No, I went to gyms because at that time when I had all this running at the same time, one of my ex-employees and really good friends came to me at that time, and he got fired from a gym chain that was running there. And he was like a VP of personal training. He came and he's like, hey, dude, like, let's start a personal training company. And I'm like, at that time again, I was starting everything. So Onyx originally started as a subcontract personal training company, consulting company. So we would go in a franchise gym or a mom and pop gym, and most of them did not have a proper personal training program. As you know, it's the hardest part in the gym to operate. So what happened? They didn't have it. He's like, right here. So they didn't have it. So
but it's the most profitable.
Correct. It's the hardest to operate.
The most money.
Correct. So we go in and they wouldn't have it. And it creates retention, creates culture, creates all these different great things. So we go in, they didn't have it. So we'll say, look, we will put in a personal training department in here. At the same time, we will help you on your development structure, systems, processes, look at your price structure, help you run the gym the way it's supposed to be, and we'll give you 10% cut of our personal training revenue as a rent. So they're like, oh, this is great. Well, we got rock and rolling. Within the first year, we got to like 8 clients, 8 locations.
Is that when Billy was working for you?
No, it was before Billy.
Okay.
So we got to 8 locations or so. And at that time, you're right, I had all these things running at the same time. And I felt great. It was great because every day I come in, today I'm a moving guy. Tomorrow's a staffing guy. This day and it was amazing, man. It was like I was living a different life every day. It was like, it's not boring. And again, for somebody that likes to do different things, but it did get to the point where everybody, like my mentors, entrepreneurs that are in their 60s and their 70s, they're like, dude, you can't do that. I'm like, they don't know me like that. I'm cut from a different cloth. Like, how are they going to tell me I can't separate my time?
So I went through the same exact thing where you feel like you wear a cape and you feel like you're Superman. Yes. Because when we worked at Urban Active, we had to be Superman.
Mm-hmm. So it's just that mindset, man. But again, it's that mindset. Like, I'm the 1%er. You're not the same as me. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to just make it happen. So that was the mindset. And then what happened was, like, we start killing it, and these clients got greedy, and they're like, I'm getting 10% of this $20,000 draft. I'm getting 10% of this $30,000 draft. They start canceling the contracts and just taking it in. Like, go fight us. So I was like, man, and I just, at that time I had a partner, and I was like, you know what? We're going brick and mortar. I'm not doing this shit anymore. Cancel all the contracts, and I opened up our first club was in Northfield, and that was the first club that we did. Cleveland, Northfield. I'm lying. The first one we did was Strongsville. We did in Strongsville.
Which is like a suburb.
Yeah, suburb of Ohio. Yeah, suburb of Cleveland.
For everyone that's listening that doesn't know.
Strongsville, Ohio, suburb of Cleveland. So, yeah, it's a really nice area.
Like Centerville kind of thing? Because it's its own.
Strongsville's nice. Strongsville's like, it's dense,
it's
it's nice.
name for a gym, Strongsville.
Strongsville.
Right?
Strongsville.
Changing the name to Strongsville. And then the way we opened up that gym, somebody's like, told us about this guy that built out a gym and never opened it up. Equipment, everything is stocked, everything is there. They're like, look, call this guy up, and he just doesn't have the staff or the know-how, but he built the gym, wanted to do it. It was a crazy situation. Call this guy up, make a deal with him that he's going to be a partner, but we're going to be more of like the management company in that gym, but it was ours. But he already had everything built out, everything done, so it was zero out of pocket. We go in and we blow it up at that time with my partner. Blow up that location. We do another location. So we got to like 4 locations. We get to 4 locations.
How long did that take?
It was about a year and a half or so.
Fast, wow.
Yeah,
like seller finance of the gym.
This is no credit, bankruptcy, not able to finance anything, not be able to like nothing. So this is literally just making shit happen. Long story short, we get to a disagreement where we just have a difference of the way we do business. And I was like, look, man, not to get too much into detail. I was like, let's just split the company. I was like, you take these 2 clubs, I'll take my 2 clubs. At that time, I had all my other businesses still. So I gave him the 2 most profitable clubs, and I took the 2 clubs that just got started where they had no revenue, nothing. We're just building it out. We made a deal. He didn't uphold that deal, fell apart. Ended up kicking him out of the company. He lost his 2 locations. Now we're down to 2 locations, starting off from scratch again. This is 2017 or so, right? End of 2017. And that's when I sat down and sold the staffing company right around that time. Sold my staffing company. My wife got pregnant, and she was working with me at that time, and she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go stay at home. No problem. Sold the company, and at that time I was like, and I had a little bit of time, and my buddy owned a life insurance company. He's like, dude, you know the recruiting game? This is what life insurance is all about. Come in, recruit, build a team. So I came in, build a team. I was like the fastest growing like agent in the agency, like as long as I've been there. And we got sent out to Kentucky with my guys. And at that time, I already have 2 Onyx clubs. And I get sent out to Kentucky. I had my moving company and all the things running still on the side. And something hit me. I was like, what am I doing? And I was like, I'm out in Kentucky trying to like run somebody else's business. I have my own brand that I can build. Mm-hmm. Literally called the dude that owned the agency. I'm like, yo, man, I'm done. I was like, I'm going back to like build my own stuff. He's like, I never met a millionaire gym owner. He's like, have good luck.
I still haven't, besides you. I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Totally kidding.
Hey, I guess we're there now.
Yeah.
Only took 7 years. Damn.
But
I ain't got 7 gyms.
So I was like, man, that was my motivation. I went back, and that's where I created this. I sat down and I created this like graph, and it was fulfillment, income, and it was fulfillment, income, and stress. And I looked at all my businesses, and I was like, what's my fulfillment in this? I was like, moving company, I don't give a shit about moving people's shit. It was good money.
Hey, man, hold on. This needs to be, go ahead. Keep going.
No, so it was like, again, fulfillment, success, and stress. Or fulfillment, income, and stress. So I looked at it. I was like, moving company, no. At that time, I had the bracelet company. Wasn't really doing, no. The car dealership, no. I eliminated everything, and I was like, I'm doubling down on Onyx. I was like, fulfillment, I love changing people's lives. I was like, this is like almost godly, like where it's like somebody comes in, and you can touch them on so many different levels, change their life. I'm not selling a product. I'm not selling an item. I'm literally sitting down, connecting with them. Somebody, they might have lost somebody. They all these different emotions, as you know, that they go through for reasons that people say 100%. So when they come in and you start uncovering that onion, you start peeling that onion, I was like, man, that's the fulfillment part. Then I was like, the stress. I'll give you a few stress points. The staffing. We had Cleveland Browns was one of our accounts. So I got that account, and I remember Friday evening, they called me up, and they're like, hey, we need 30 people there on Sunday morning to clean the stadium. Cool, no problem. So we're working until 12 o'clock at night, getting staff in, signing contracts, make sure everybody's ready to know. They'll know where they're going, where they're supposed to check in at. 5 a.m. I get a call from the operations manager from Browns, and it was a voicemail. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, 3 people showed up. Where's the 3 people? Out of 30 people that were supposed to show up, 3 people show. I'm now the stress level. I'm about to lose one of my biggest clients. Like I can't do anything. It's a Sunday, and at that time we were building. And when you build a staffing and recruiting company, we're floating people's payroll, and sometimes we're floated for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days.
Oh man,
we're floating.
Damn.
So I'm sometimes in the hole of 250 grand. I built that from zero. So we're in. I'm waiting, and I can't call them up and like, yo, you got to pay your bill. They're like, no, go fuck yourself. And then I'm stuck with that. So like, I couldn't do that, and I couldn't call them up and be like, I have no money because they thought that we're bigger than this other companies.
Yeah.
So it was a double-edged sword. So it was a stress was through the roof, and. Moving company. I remember it was a Saturday. The guys took out a bridge in Oklahoma in the middle of nowhere. I'm getting calls from the state trooper. Like, your guys just took out this bridge, the Penske truck. Like,
bro, that's not hard to do. Like, I bought a Sprinter not too long ago, and I didn't know how high they were.
like, I almost took one out.
Building I hit, but next thing I'm like, oh shit.
Man,
I love that Sprinter.
So the stresses was there through the roof, and I was like, so when I sat down, Onyx, I was like, man, there's no stress really. Like, if you know what you're doing, you're running the club, like. So, and then the income potential, I was like, man, I can scale this. So that's where I was like, I eliminated all my businesses, and I'm getting laser focused on this. And from 2017 till now, we got the 7 locations, trademarked all the way across. We're getting ready to get the franchise. So like now it's just,
with less stress.
So to recap that point, you wrote down
fulfillment, income potential, and stress. And I rated every business on those 3 points.
And stress. I think for anyone listening right now, if there's something that you take from this, if everyone could do that, it would be one of the biggest game changers in their entire life.
It was huge for me.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So it was crazy, man. So when we did that, and from there on, it was just laser focused now, like knowing where the vision is. And obviously, again, there's been major ups and downs and punches and and falls and all these different things. But now it's more of, I know what I love to do. I know what the game is. And again, it's going to come with its challenges, with its adversities. But at the end of the day, like, I know the income potential is there. I know what the stress is, and I know the fulfillment is.
I know what your potential is, and not to stroke you off or anything like that, but I know what your potential is. I've known you for so long. We came up together. What's your goals for, let's say, for the next 10-year run for you?
Where are you going to be?
No, for sure, man. I think, to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of thinking that far ahead, because it's the same way as
How do you think, though?
Great. So the way it's like, it's a business plan. I don't believe in business plans, because when COVID hit, everybody's business plan.
No business plan.
There is no business plan.
I had a plan. What happened was
recession hits, no business plan. So like, I don't believe in business plan, because I believe in like pivoting, and I believe in like feeling your business, knowing your business,
being adaptable, right?
Yeah, being adaptable and adapt. And so now my next, I look at this month, I look at 6 months, I look at a year, and I look at, again, what are we going to be at next year? What's our goal, and how are we going to pivot? Because, again, you asked me that question a year ago, it was different. You asked me the question, now it's different. So our goal now is to become a national company. It is. My goal is to, and the crazy part is, I was telling this to people when I had 1 club. I was telling people when I had 2 clubs. Had some people that had 3 clubs, and it was to people that worked for me. And, there's people that believed in that, and there's people that are just like, okay, right,
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting closer and closer to that, where, man, just this last week, I had 3 emails from private equity firms. And after this, I'll show it to you when we go to lunch.
What's your exit strategy like?
So right now, again, about 3 months ago, when I saw you, and I was like, I got acquired. You know what I mean? 3 months ago. 3 months ago.
We're celebrating his Putin-Bay.
I think he broke his glasses. I broke his shin splinter.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah. I definitely humped you like a dog. I was so happy for you, though, man.
That was exciting. Honestly, the crazy part is you can always connect the dots going backwards. I was like, I'm not too religious. I'm spiritual. I believe in like things happening for a certain reason. I believe connecting the dots. And I was so clear on my vision. Like, man, like I see it. I know where we're going. And all of a sudden, left field, like, something hit me like, where did this come from? And it was like, oh, we're going to buy it. And again, it was just never in a thought, never even in the vision, because I was like, we're too early. We have so much to go. Number came in and I was like, all right, this is worth the conversation.
How many gyms were you at that point?
We were at that time, so we went, there's a strategic move that I made. We were at eight locations at that time. So we backed down to 7 because I made a strategic move that we'll talk about in a second. But we were at 8 locations at that time. It was a client of ours that had been a client of ours for like a year or two that saw the operation, saw the growth and whatnot, and wanted to invest. And again, it just went south. It started quick and it ended quick because it was just, again, it was my first practice run, and I looked at it that way now reflecting. I was like, it was a great practice run. It was a great to see how can it unfold, what do you look for, how do you set the structure up, how do you set everything up for an exit. So it was a good wake-up call, but at the same time, as it was going through, it almost felt not uneasy in my stomach. It almost felt uneasy in my gut, like, man, am I making the right decision? Is this too early? I had so many people in my staff that I didn't realize how much Onyx meant to them. And I was like, man, people are getting affected by this that much? Like, I thought it was just a job for them or
people
whatever.
Were
like,
upset with you?
Oh, not upset. They were like, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, not upset, man. They were just more like one of the reasons why I feel like people follow a leader, especially in a startup, is because they believe in the vision. They believe in the vision of where the company's going, where the organization's going, and that's part of the buy-in. Because when you're a startup, you don't pay out the highest salaries, you don't pay out the highest compensations. You got people to buy in because they believe in the vision and they
want to grow with you.
They want to grow with you, and they want to sow the seed, and they want to see that they see what the potential is and where you're going, and they believe in that. And I think that when that cut off and the new guy came in and he didn't have a vision going national. He's like, man, I just want to be a regional guy. I just want to have clubs and that's my only game. They're like, oh my God, boom. That's the first cut. Now they didn't see the potential in the growth. Then it's a totally different personalities. I like to think like magnetic, exciting. This dude was a little more drier. You know what I mean? Like not the guy that you would. He almost saw that being in the game in the fitness industry and being in the health clubs is like he was a geeky guy that was nobody in high school, nobody growing up kind of thing. Like his daddy gave him the business and, so now he saw this as like, fitness is like, it's like, it's sexy, it's fun. It's like a bar, but it's like healthy, right? So like,
it really is.
So it's that kind of feel.
It's like a social
It's a social place.
Yeah,
so
sure.
He wanted to be a part of that. And I think that he just had a different mindset and approach. So I saw how people just didn't respect that and didn't see that as a future for them, because that's not the kind of people I recruited. I recruited people that wanted to grow, that wanted a vision, wanted to go somewhere. So when he came in, I let him in too soon, too quickly, and he just started messing up so many things. And we did so many things on the contracts where we were like restricted from selling paid in full memberships, and like it killed our cash flow for like 60 days like crazy. So we had it was just a bad situation.
Big learning lesson.
big learning lesson. So I came back in to try to restructure and take over and change the whole culture. We lost people because some people liked what he said or whatnot. He manipulated a few people in different ways to get the deal done. So it was just a dirty, messy thing. But cool part about it is, man, I felt like when that was going through, I was almost losing something. So when I got it back, it's like one of those sayings, like, you don't know what you have until you lose it. And you're like, man, I was about to let this go. Like, man, this is an infancy stage. A company that's been around only 5 years. We haven't even tapped the surface. And the crazy part is, if you look at some of the national companies out there that are bigger, big out there as Planet Fitness, 2,500 clubs. Anytime Fitness, almost 5,000 clubs. Snap Fitness,
it's scalable.
45,000 clubs.
Very scalable.
4,500 clubs. These companies, every one of them did not open up their second location. Anytime Fitness took 6 years. Platinum Fitness took 8 years. Snap Fitness took like 7 years. If you look at our history, we have grown faster than all those companies from 1 to 5 years. So that gives me like motivation. That gives me like, holy crap, like we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just doing it better. We're doing it sexier. We're implementing different systems and processes.
Yeah, I was going to say the evolution of the gym industry is fine. It used to be Globo gyms, right? And now you're seeing so many of these little boutique niche things that are cycle bars, right? The
Pilates or yoga. Yeah,
100%.
So speaking of niche, and it seems like you found a niche in that market, but it's also long term, because fitness, the one thing I know, fitness changes constantly. You got Orange Theory, you got this Snap. We were talking about the Snap contract before this. It's like 140 pages thick. Like you sell your soul to be a franchisee. And you have all these different niches, and things always change. It's the newest, the hottest, the latest, greatest thing. But I want to pivot because we do talk about real estate on this podcast. And, can you talk about the real estate that you've gotten in the gyms and how pivotal that's been to your success?
That's been super huge because the reason why is what's the number one cost, when you're
rent.
Rent. So I think that's one of the things that I was able to do. And that's what allowed us even to survive during COVID. I was able to go in and negotiate. I think I was negotiated out of I would say bluff. I would walk in and I would be like, we're the biggest, we're the best. If you don't want to do business with me, you're gonna regret it.
So for people watching, when you say fake it till you make it?
Fake it till you make it is the best statement there is, brother. Fake it till you make
like
it.
that one.
No. I'm not gonna bullshit. I'm not gonna lie because I think a lot of people.
Let's be honest.
No, let's be honest. I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, the crazy part of the way the society works. Everybody does judge. Again, they judge. There's two judgments happens. First is how you look and what you dress, and the second one is what the first thing that comes out of your mouth. So people judge this. So I remember, it was yesterday. I remember I had a Jeep and it was Onyx Rab Jeep, and it was oh cool. I rolled up.
You guys in Jeeps.
Dude, Jeeps are cool.
Or Jeep people.
So I rolled up. I had this cool ass Jeep, all branded out or whatnot, and hey, it's cheaper than a G wagon. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So man, I remember I rolled up to this space and pull up. And again, man, that's the thing. With us being younger and being successful, is you're always in a group of usually older people, or people that've been done, and they're look at you what do you know? What have you done? So it is about your image of how you walk in, what you have, and all this stuff. Because that's the first thing they judge. I remember I rolled up in a Jeep, and I walk into space, and this guy's nonchalantly I'm hey, this is what we're gonna need. He's let me tell you how this is done. He's well, we do build outs and this. And he's oh, talk down to me, and meaning I don't know what I was doing. At that time, I had a Bentley Continental GT convertible, and I didn't drive it. It was in my garage. So I drove up in that. Something happened. I was man, that guy's an asshole. I was I'm not. He was a leasing guy. Left. 3-4 months later, one of my brokers booked another showing with the same guy. I didn't remember him. I remember him. He didn't remember me. This is literally 3-4 months ago, or 3-4 months after. I roll up in a Bentley.
I was going to say, you pull that out of the garage.
I rolled up in a Bentley.
Mine's still in my garage. You want it? They sit. Not for reason to go on drive. They just don't work all the time.
The hydraulics?
Right? Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
The other day.
So I roll up. Man, it was red carpet. Sir, what would you like? What can we do for you to do business with us? This is that.
I'm in control now.
Yes. So I was man, it's at that time, honestly, I was not in the right position to own a Bentley. I bought it. I sold my staffing company, and I was I'm going to buy one just because I want to have a token of my success. And that's why I bought it. I always wanted one. And that Bentley made me more money than I bought because I would use the shit out of it because I would literally pull up and
something be set for it.
And that's what it was. It was crazy because people looked at it that way. So I started now negotiating for power. I knew what I had, and I would walk in. I'm I'm not paying that. Now people want to do business with successful people. They don't want to, even though if they can charge somebody more, and somebody came in more humble in a Honda Civic or a Hyundai.
But it's all situational.
Using tools, man. Resources and tools.
Yes.
It is. No, yeah. But I think, man, my negotiation style is very aggressive, and it's very I'll roll the dice. I don't care. I don't care if I lose. I look at this as business as a game, and I'm so confident that if I lose, I'll rebuild because I've been there before. So I think that it throws people off. I'll negotiate as hey, take it or leave it, and I decide. I'm fuck.
Please take it.
But it's that poker game, man. And then I can share a lot of internal stuff later,
But you made now you're actually real in that position.
No, now we made it. Now
you manifest that in a way. The fake till you make it is a form of manifestation.
100%.
Think about it. You're doing all this and you're manifesting being all this. You haven't.
I'm big on manifestation, man. So I think that's what we did, and what we did, we would go in and we negotiate. Hey, we're not playing triple net. We're doing only gross leases. If you want to do business with Onyx, that's how we do it. Okay, but we only pay single digit rents. We don't pay double digit rents. You want us in here? That's how we do it. So it was more we sent them our terms and say, here's what we do, how we do our deals. Do you want to do it or not? If you don't, we got a landlord across the street that's going to do it. So like that was kind of the style, and now it became where later on and where it's now like we get emails, hey, do you want to put a gym in our plaza? Well, we do. Here's the terms we want. I remember our first 2 gyms, we came out of pocket and we do the build out ourselves. Since then, I didn't do one build out myself.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? So like, so that was the things that I learned, and I didn't, you know, so.
But for people listening, it's part of the process. You know, it's part of the build, and you know, you wouldn't be where you're at without going through that process. And I'm huge on process and progress. Oh, yeah. And for a lot of people, they want to be at the end destination, but they never want to go through the shit, the journey, the battle. And I think that's what's interesting about you and your story is that, you know, you went through the process, you know, and, you know, when you roll up in the Bentley or whatever it is, we got a fire round right after this, so I'm gonna ask you about the Bentley. But you know, when you roll up in the Bentley now, it's not a fake it till you make it. It's like, you know, and again, like you and people like us, we feel like we haven't done shit.
No, for sure.
I mean, that's how I feel.
What is it? There's a statement like winners feel like they now do enough and losers feel like they've done too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can drive the Jeep and still have the same.
Yeah.
Like I'm on this big thing right now where I'm driving an S10 around because I just
don't care anymore.
I don't care. But when there's certain situations where I need to roll up in the Shelby, I'm cool with it. When I need to roll up in the Grand National, I'm cool with it. When I need to roll up in a different vehicle, I can do that. But and that's why I was going back to it's situational too, you know. And so I'm doing a bunch of TikToks and stuff like that with the S10, the economy, the recession. You know, hey, Terry's been planning for the recession for the last year and a half. You know, and so, but I'm using that vehicle to my advantage. For sure. It's just a lot cheaper.
Sure, for sure.
But I use the other vehicles to my advantage too. I think it's interesting that you do that because a lot of people are like, man, I really want the Lambo, and they want it to look cool for their own ego, as opposed to
using the tool.
What it's going to be as a tool to be able to do continue business.
It's the same thing as people feel about the Rolexes. It's just like when someone sees it, like, oh, okay, let me pick your brain a little bit, right? And then it just gets you into those rooms, maybe.
So go ahead.
Do you own all the gyms? Are they franchised?
No, right now they're all corporate.
Okay.
So right now, one thing to kind of pivot, because you said like, what's the next move for the next 5 years?
Yeah.
So we are in the process of one of the really known name. I can't disclose it yet. Around the country, they have 3 locations in the Cleveland market that they're converting over to Onyx and becoming an Onyx brand.
So when this does happen, we're not going to talk about it on here, but when it does happen, we definitely want to bring you back on.
No, that'd be great.
Yeah, because
that's going to be the next stage of the.
Because I think that's very important for people to hear.
Yeah.
It'll be people
huge.
join in on this too, like everything that you've done, you know, like let's.
You know, I was telling you, what do they say? Like nobody believes in you until you actually made it. You know, so I think now it's crazy because in 5 years we build something that now a brand that's been around for 30 years wants to convert their name to us. A brand, there's 2 brands. One that's been around for 30 years, another brand's been around for 35 years. Both of those brands now want to convert to us, which is crazy to me.
So you have to sell yourself. Now they're trying to sell themselves to you.
There's a book that I actually just read. It's called How the Mighty Fall.
Okay.
And it's because the brands get stagnant or they try to evolve too much.
Yeah.
The one or the two things, and they got these blindfolders on, too much ego. They're like, this is our brand. Case in point, Blockbuster or Kodak. We're going to make pictures. And dude, you got to evolve at some point, and fitness is always evolving. And so you got to be okay with that.
You got a good plan, man. It's going to be awesome.
We got to get in the fire around here. So are you ready? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
I hope so.
Okay. All right. Bentley or BMW?
Bentley.
That's a given now.
I had to go over there.
Work hard or play hard?
Work hard and play hard.
That was too easy. All right.
A watered down play around? I mean,
summer or winter? Hold on. No.
Summer.
Okay. Getting kicked in the nuts or getting kicked in the face?
Getting kicked in the face.
Why?
Because the nuts, man, you can't get up.
You're
you get kicked in the nuts, your stomach, and you're like, you cripple. Like, you getting kicked in the face. If you got a good jaw, you can take a punch.
Or a kick.
Or a strong jaw too.
You know,
very, very defined jawline. Okay, that makes sense. Some people don't have it defined down there. Live in 1969 or 2069.
1969. I say that for all the time.
You're an old soul.
You know why, man? I wish so much that we lived back in the day or the Prohibition days where people answered for what words came out of their mouth.
Yeah.
because
Without
too
getting
much
shot,
people
getting
talk.
pushed.
People
Getting
talk.
kicked in the
No,
nuts.
yeah,
Kicked in the nuts, rather than getting shot.
Somebody had a problem with somebody, with a man or whoever. They
Yeah, you
walk
saw
up
that.
and you handle shit,
Normal.
And you have drinks afterwards.
yeah. You know, so it's like I love the old school mindset.
Yeah.
For sure.
Manhattan or old fashioned?
That's a good hard question, but Manhattan would have to be. Well, that's usually between the two.
Yeah, not as much sugar, right?
Yeah,
You gotta keep the sugar low, man. I mean, you're a gym owner, you gotta keep it tight.
Right. Still have a good time.
Space or ocean?
Ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
You don't
water
want to.
guy.
You don't do the Elon shit.
No, I'm a water guy, man. It's just, I'm scared of heights, so that's number one. But I'm a water. I love being by the water. You know, I love boating. I love being on the water. So that's my thing.
Lose all the money you earned this year, or lose all the memories you made this year.
Lose all the money. Money's remade. Memories don't.
I like that. Lose all thought or lose all feeling.
Lose all feeling.
Blind or deaf.
Both. I'm kidding.
Deaf.
Yeah. Same.
Because again, it's the memories, it's the images that you see with your eyes that will be, you know what I mean, that go on, and I can read your mouth.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
I
I can
dig.
still read you talking shit.
I dig it, man. Cool. I think that was a solid fire round. What else you guys got?
I was excited to see where you go, man. Shoot.
No, I'm-
What you've done in 5 years and then going forward. I mean,
No, I appreciate it. The next couple.
are you going to be trying to do more franchises then after
Yeah,
this? Or is that what you're already up to?
So that was the biggest thing. So I was telling you, when I was in Texas, I got, man, it was surreal. I honestly, 3 emails from 3 different private equity firms. Saturday, I'm having lunch with Lolly, and ring, my phone rings with another company that I've been negotiating for the last 3 months. Their owners of that company one of them is one of the largest developers, and the other one is one of the largest top 10 law firms in the country. So that would be my partners. So I was like, man, like you can't set this up any better. So as me being the operator, developer, legal. So and their goal is to, when I met with them, they're like, what's your plan long term? I said, I want a license. They're like, why? And I told them, I was like, well, I got to walk before I run, and told them the whole situation. Their response was, well, why don't we make the franchising happen much sooner if we have the resources? So having dinner actually tomorrow to finalize hopefully this deal, and then once it finalizes, we'll be merging again a couple other clubs, and then it'll be
We'll knock this
No,
down.
man, that's what I was saying.
Knock
I
on
mean,
the
if
wood.
anyone's interested in join or trying to do it, so you will be having franchises soon.
Yeah,
So
that's our biggest
how
goal,
do they
man.
reach out
Yeah,
to you? Like, is it- you're a high person now, so can they just call you up or they talk to somebody?
Man, I got
or-
Instagram, I got phone number. I'm still very hands on, still very direct. My Instagram is Mr. Onyx Fit, straight across. Follow me. But the biggest thing that we're trying to do is I want to stabilize this, and our goal is to grow through franchising, but also identify those health club owners out there that that maybe again don't know the way, don't know the process. They're struggling and they just want to get part of the bigger brand, and that's gonna be our first focus. Our first focus is going to be targeting some of the private guys that have 1 gym, 2 gyms, 3 or 5, and converting them to our brand. At the same time, our goal is really going to virtual. We're building out this whole platform, like I was telling you guys earlier, where people can become part of Onyx as a trainer or a fitness specialist. Is it powerlifting? Is it weight loss? Is it relaxation, flexibility? Whatever your specialty is in a fitness niche, we're going to build out a platform for them to be able to go on and market themselves outside of Onyx, but with our platform, be able to collect the majority of their revenue and utilize our traffic that we get to our website. Because a lot of guys starting up, they don't get no traffic. They don't have a website. They might have some social media or following or whatever the case may be, but they'll be able to leverage our traffic, promote themselves, collect 70% of their revenue, and we only collect 30%, and we're going to provide them all the services and the platform. So that's something that's really huge that we're rolling out by January 1st, and I think that's going to be awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, you turned me off after seeing with gym stuff, but I actually want to get in the gym.
He's like, this is hard.
You see what this podcast does, man? See what
He's
this
still me
does?
too.
I got one more fire round for you.
No, but
Abs or biceps?
abs got to be, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, because biceps is cool because you got the shirt on, but again, I'm the water guy, man, and then when the shirts come off, when you're
Yeah.
naked, you only see abs.
I ain't naked
And
right
what's-
now.
but what's- you want to be. It's like you want to see your body at the purest form as naked. That's when you look at the mirror. You're like, man.
Oh, man, you like that skinny
Right,
guy
I'm
stuff, man.
eating
I
right.
wasn't built.
Hey.
Listen, I was built to move heavy shit.
I ain't
all right?
drinking Diet Cokes.
for no reason.
Oh, you know the top 10. They did the sexy in the magazine GQ. They did top 10
you
sexiest.
see the magazine he quoted GQ.
Top
Could you not
sexiest-
call that without knowing the guy? Like,
Top
come on now.
sexiest part. What would you guys guess? 1 to 3. You go first. What would you guess is the top sexiest body part that women think in a man? You will never guess. Go.
What was it? Face?
Eyes.
I don't know.
It's face.
It's not that big, so it's not that.
My smile.
No.
Eyes. No.
You know what part?
Abs.
This
That cut?
the oblique. Oblique.
The oblique. The serratus.
The oblique. Yes.
The serratus
Yeah.
or the oblique?
No. The oblique.
I got like three of those.
Yeah. Yes. That's what women see. The number one sex.
Love handles?
No.
I get it. I win. Yes.
So yeah, it's crazy. So it's like part of the
That
ad.
was wild.
Oh my gosh. Well, dude, thank you so much
I
for coming
appreciate
on
you
to the
guys.
Let's Be
It was
Honest
great.
show. We really appreciate you having here. And also, when some deals go down, we're looking forward to having you back as well, man. So
for sure.
love you. Thank you
Appreciate
so
you guys.
much.
Yeah, a
And,
lot of stuff to take from this.
I think
Sure.
so as well. I actually wrote some stuff down as well. So those of you guys have tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in to the Let's Be Honest show. Again, if people want to find you, where do they find you?
On Instagram, Mr. Onyx Fit. Mr. Onyx ONYX Fit. All one word.
Love it. Very simple and very
Yes, sir.
easy. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Let's Be Honest show, where we talk about real estate, business, lifestyle, and everything in between. Thank you so much. And until next time, we'll see y'all later.
Peace out.
Peace.
Okay, good.